Hello and welcome to ABW Radio Live. It is Saturday, the 19th of March. And what a fine Saturday it is because we won a game. That's always nice, isn't it, boys and girls? Your host, Kris, as usual, and I'm joined by not one, not two, but three guests today. I've got John, I've got Tom, I've got Karl. Good afternoon to you all.
Hello.
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 I trust we're all well.
Yeah.
Well,
all good.
Yeah. I always like to pick on somebody, so who should I pick on today? Oh, Tom. Tom,
what a surprise.
Feeling a bit rough, Tom?
A little bit.
Fucking amateurs these days, I tell
When
you.
you changed the tweet back to just John and Karl, I saw people slagging me off, going, he needs to man up. So here I am.
It was my fault. It was a bit of a scheduling issue. I thought you were. I had John and Tom on the spreadsheet, and I had you in my phone lineup. So I don't know. Something went wrong. Who cares? We're all here. It's a big Arsenal loving. We're all going to get naked. No, we're not. Right. Let's talk fast, so to speak. Let's go from the opposite way forwards. John, with your massive head. You're very close to the screen there, mate. It's lovely. What was your thoughts on today, mate? 2-0 victory, away from home. Decent, wasn't it?
Yeah, very nice. I don't think I've got anything to moan about. It's amazing. I'm sure I'll find something. No, it was just nice to get back to winning ways. Really good performance. Comfortable throughout. I didn't really feel worried at all. Everton were maybe put us under pressure for 5 minutes. And that was it, really. Decent pressing, midfield looked good, defence was fairly tight, forward line looked exciting, was moving about. For once, if I've got one complaint, it's probably maybe we should have got a few more goals. But other than that, yeah, really happy and exactly what we needed after the last few weeks and the results we've been getting.
Yeah, nice complaint to have when you haven't scored enough, isn't it? Rather than you haven't scored at all. So it's quite a nice change. Karl, what did you make of? Maybe talk a little bit about the team. Obviously, it's a bit of a surprise. Alex Iwobi keeping his place. A few of us, I think John indeed called for it on the radio show after Barcelona. But overall, good team performance, and the lad did well as well, didn't he?
No, he did. He did very, very well. I was kind of shocked to see him in the team, but credit to him, he took his chance, and that's what we need. We need people who, when they get their chance, they take it. And credit to him. I didn't expect him to be in the team, but he came in. He done very, very well, and hopefully he can lock down a place.
Absolutely, yeah. I think he's certainly done more than some have in recent weeks. So fair play to him. And Tom, winning away from home, clean sheet, even with a goalkeeper with half a rib cage by the end of it, by the looks of it. Clean sheet is a victory. You just never know with this team, do you? If you can do that every week, who says we can't go on a run? But overall today, happy as well?
Yeah, certainly. I think that you go to a place like Everton, you don't expect an easy game, and I think we came away quite comfortably with it in the end. I think we just got the 2-0 lead, and then we just managed the rest of the game perfectly. Didn't need to concede, didn't particularly need to go and score another, even though we should have been given it because it wasn't a foul on Giroud, or Giroud for making a foul. But no, very happy.
Absolutely, and we should say, of course, as well, it's good to see Romelu Lukaku stepping up against a good side yet again.
Oh, you were waiting to say that.
Oh, come on, I've got to have my 5 pence worth. Should say as well, afternoon to everyone in the chat room. Thank you all for joining us as usual. Appreciate it's a bit of an unusual time because we don't seem to ever kick off on Saturdays at the normal time anymore. But yeah, good to have you all aboard. Keep chatting away. And sorry for the delay. We had some issues with Google Plus for some reason. Sorry about that. It wasn't my computer. Thank you, John. Cheeky bugger.
I didn't say it was your computer. I said it was...
no, sorry. It was me. Okay, yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Right, let's go back to Karl then. Let's go through a couple of individual performances. Let's start with Danny Welbeck. Grabbed the opening goal early on, set us up for a pretty decent start, and we looked in the warm-up. We sort of looked a bit. I mean, it's hard to tell because obviously a warm-up is a warm-up, but it was quite a conservative warm-up, players sort of just going through the motions. And then we started quickly, and Danny Welbeck's movement yet again proving the undoing of an opposition with a lovely passing move for the goal.
I mean, that's what we're crying out for. We're crying out for fast starts. We always go back to the sort of Man United game because, that was a really, really fast start and we scored really, really quickly. I think that's what Ozil needs, personally. You need someone who
will move quickly, who can hold up the ball, and also has got a lot of pace and his quick feet. I mean, that first goal, his feet were so quick to go around the goalkeeper because the goalkeeper was just about to take him out, and the fact that he just managed to knock it past the goalkeeper and keep his balance and put the ball in the back of the net, I thought was absolutely brilliant. I thought it was a brilliant team goal. Everyone done really, really well. But Welbeck, I think, is what we're sort of crying out for. Someone who will move about. As much as I know people may not agree with it, but I think Giroud is a good player. He doesn't move about a lot. And someone like Welbeck, he will stretch the play, run into channels and draw defenders out. And I think what he did today was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. Were you surprised to see Welbeck start? You mentioned Giroud there. I must confess, I had every visualisation of him coming in today. But were you pleased to see Welbeck start?
Yeah, I thought he would start anyway, to be honest. I think Arsenal's starting to see that, Welbeck is the way to go now. And I know Arsene Wenger's talking about breaking him in easily because he's just come back from injury. But I think now, he's had a run of games. He's sort of responded well. So I think now's the time to start him and see what he can do.
Yeah, agree with you. Tom, the first goal, Christ on a bike, you look like the Emperor.
Yeah, someone said I was a Sith in the chat.
Very rough. Bless your little cotton socks. What was the song you were singing on Snapchat?
Oh, God, don't.
For the listeners' benefit, Tom sent myself and John a Snapchat last night of him singing to the Top Gun theme Danger Zone.
Hell yeah. That's a sick song.
So I'll let you just tweet him about that. Feel free. Back to Arsenal, Tom. So the opening goal, it even produced a little hop, skip and a jump from Arsene Wenger. He seemed particularly chuffed with that. It was a very sort of Wenger-era goal, if I dare say that. The sort of the quick passing, the interchange in and around the box, close control. But the thing I really liked about it was the movement of all of the front four. Did that impress you as well for that goal in particular?
Yeah, it was back to the classic old days of Arsenal passing and moving freely with relative ease, and it was actually our first goal. I looked this up. It's our first goal in the first 10 minutes since December the 13th. So it's been a long time since we've gone in front early, but I can see why Wenger was so pleased because it was such an Arsenal goal for once. It was just how you wanted to play. Thanks, Kris. Great. Cheers for that in the chat. That's brilliant.
You're welcome, mate.
But it's nice to see that Alexis is getting the assist as well. I think him playing on the right was such a plus. I've been crying out for it for so long, and it happened, and it's paid off. So I think going into the next game, it bodes well, and to have any chance of the title, we've got to have a perfect run. So it was the perfect start.
Absolutely. And John, let's move on from the goal then. Fairly comfortable for long periods. I think you made the comment in our WhatsApp group that or was it? It might have been to me personally, actually, either one. But you said that the Everton midfield was wildly open. I mean, it was, honestly, you could have just sort of set a herd of geese or what are those dinosaurs in Jurassic? Gallimimus. You could have just run them through Everton's midfield. It was that open. Old reference there, 1994 classic. But what did you make of our performance, particularly those two holders, Coquelin and El Nene, coming in for a lot of praise today? It's a combination that seems to work, doesn't it? That sort of athletic type, but with the ability to sit or indeed push on, given the circumstances.
Yeah, they were fairly comfortable today. Picked up the ball when they had to, and just kept things ticking over. As soon as if we lost possession, they'd be quick back to get it, and then sort of lay it off to Alexis, Ozil, or Iwobi, one of the fullbacks coming on, and that was working great. Everton were really poor today, like really, really bad. I mean, we were very good, and I think that's in part to the way that Everton played. But I was amazed how bad their midfield was. I didn't think not having Gareth Barry in there would affect them so much. But yeah, it looked like you could drive a bus through their midfield. There was just absolutely no one there. The amount of time and space that Mesut Ozil got in there was unbelievable. Well, that's in part down to his good movement, but they just weren't picking him up at all. And when you do that, that drags defenders out, and players like Welbeck and Iwobi, Sanchez, they can exploit the space left in behind then. So we took full advantage of it. But no, I like those two. They're very solid. I like El Neni. Any midfielder, you've got to have the legs now to get up and down. I think it's why Ramsey gets a lot of praise for the engine that he's got. We know Coquelin can do that as well. But with the fact that he will sit more naturally, and Elneny looks comfortable going forwards. I like that combination. So hopefully, I imagine that will be it. That sort of combo for the rest of the season now, unless Ramsey comes back in time, like from his injury. Just try and keep up that sort of solidarity in there.
Yeah, I think I'd stick with it even when Ramsey gets back. I think you probably see Ramsey probably come in on the right. Even if that happens, it seems to be working. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just quick sidebar, John. If you're going to drive your bus through the midfield, just mind out for the Gallimimuses. Don't run them over. You know, we're all friends with animals here.
Extinct anyway, fuck them.
Oh, harsh. You're a man. You're a cold-hearted man, Welsh. Tom, let's come back to you quickly for another one. What about the performance of the centre halves? Because I thought Koscielny, after, I think it's fair to say, he had a little bit of a rough night in Barcelona. He didn't quite look 100% up to speed, but his partnership today with Gabriel, it's the best I've seen it since those two have played together. You know my views on keeping Mertesacker at the moment, but Gabriel, particularly after a bit of a flustered start, joking aside, he dealt with Lukaku very well overall, didn't he?
He did indeed. I think we've been a bit of a caveat of criticising Gabriel recently. He's made some mistakes, but today he really stepped up to the plate and he really quietened down Lukaku, which isn't an easy job because he's obviously a world-class striker, Kris. Yeah, I just think that it's nice to see him stepping up and seeing that those two actually can play together when we need to get a win, and keeping a clean sheet was important. We needed to get a clean sheet as well, not just a win today for confidence, and we certainly did that. And Gabriel should be praised as much as possible for it because he battled, he worked hard, he battled against Lukaku on all sides of the pitch, and he did work clearing it. He did work getting it clear when he needed to, and tackling and getting ahead of Lukaku from the ball. There was a couple of times where Lukaku did beat him, but you're not going to get a perfect run. But certainly, I think that he will be mainstaying there now.
Yeah, agree. And Karl, what about focusing in on another player? What about Alexis Sanchez? I mean, he's come in for a bit of criticism recently, and as we've said on this parish, no one is above criticism if it needs to be dished out. But he looked a bit fresh today. He looked back to himself. He was lively. He was chasing things down. He should have had a penalty, but for his sort of slightly delayed fall. I think in the BT Sport commentators said that he was almost a victim of his own honesty because he stayed on his feet and then realised he couldn't get the ball and then went down. But his performance overall was getting somewhere back to the Alexis we remember, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's refreshing that he's playing on the right, different position, and we've kind of been begging for him to play on the right, and he did that today, and I think he was much better on the right than he has been on the left-hand side. So I think, it's a change is good for him, coming in on the right so he can kind of get to the byline and running from the right-hand side. He should have had a penalty, definitely. I don't understand. I just want to make one comment. I don't know if you heard Michael Owen's commentary when he said, he should have stayed on his feet. As a striker, I know that you should stay on your feet. World Cup 98, and that's all I'll say. Nothing else to say about that. But yes, he should definitely have had a penalty. I don't know why it weren't given, to be honest.
Sorry, Mara's just scored.
Yeah, Leicester went up. Carry on, Karl.
I don't know why he didn't get the penalty, but I thought he definitely played well today, and credit where credit's due. He hasn't played well previously, but today he showed that Alexis of old.
Yeah, it's good to say. And like you say, sometimes just, it sounds silly, but just switching positions or having a slightly different role in a team can refresh a player and make them sort of see that there is a different element that they can add to their game. So I was pleased with it as well. John, let's talk about the Alex Iwobi goal then. Really, really key time to score. I know it's a cliche, but right before half-time, Everton would have been going in thinking, well, we're 1-0 down, we can easily get back in this. But after we sort of soaked up a little bit of a period of pressure, one long ball beat the entire Everton defence, which is doing an Arsenal, dare I say, far too high at the pitch. But Iwobi's poise and class and sort of ability to just calm himself down and slot that away, it defied his age, didn't it, for a finish like that?
Yeah, I was really pleased with that. When that ball was played in, he took it down well, showed good strength against, what's his name? Funes Mori. Yeah, that geezer. And then just as he was running in on goal, the one thing that was going through my head was, don't pass it. Please don't pass it. Just shoot. Just have the confidence to shoot. And he did the right thing. Took it on. He was greedy. Really good finish, through the keeper's legs. And that's just great for him. It's nice whenever you see a young player come through and have sort of their breakout season. On his debut to get the goal, I thought he was really good today. His link-up play with Welbeck was really good. They were talking afterwards. They did their post-match interview where he got the Man of the Match award and saying that Welbeck's really been helping him in training and sort of integrating him into the first team. So there's obviously a decent friendship there. But yeah, it's the sort of thing you do see from young players, that they've got the bottle and the sort of the no fear, and they are kind of playing as if they're still with their mates and they can just go out and just do it. And you just want to keep him to keep hold of that sort of thing. I think certain other players in the squad there might have fluffed their lines slightly. I'm not going to pick anyone out, but I'm sure people will know who I'm talking about. But some people might have fluffed their lines, or maybe look for a square ball instead of just like taking it on straight at the keeper. But nice, confident, direct running. Nice to be able to score a different kind of goal as well. Just that quick over the top ball, and just bang, get them on the counter.
The thing I like about Iwobi as well is something that's a little bit different to what other options we've got is he's quite pacey, but in a different type of way. What I mean by that is he's quite lanky, and he's kind of almost that Vieira stride, isn't it? It's kind of that long stride, and he covers ground at a very quick rate. And I thought the thing I really liked about his goal in particular was, as you rightly say, John, he didn't ever have any thought in his mind other than get it out of his feet, get it in front of him, and slot it under the keeper. And I don't think he particularly got away from Funes Mori as far as speed goes. It wasn't out and out speed that got him there, but it was strength that got him into the position.
Just holding the player off. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
He played for a long time for the under-21s as a striker. He wasn't playing wide, so I know they rotated him sort of from the front three and up front. So I think maybe that little bit of experience there has helped him. And he has, when he's come in the team, he's played wide and he's played the number 10 role. And he's done very well in all the games he's played. He's made some mistakes as well. He's given the ball away a couple of times, but he always works back hard to try and get the ball back. And it's all sort of things that come with experience and that kind of age. But yeah, really impressive him. Don't want to, as with all young players, you don't want to hype him up too much and get overexcited about him. But he does certainly look comfortable in that team at the moment, and he seems to be bringing the best out of Welbeck at the moment. And I think Ozil's enjoying it as well, having that kind of player around him. So he really fires the ball into people. He's really confident with his passing.
And it's the era of unpredictability as well, isn't it? An opposition is someone they don't know a lot about, so it's that ability. And of course, him and Welbs have a lovely, cute little handshake circa Paul Ince Ryan gigs off of the 90s. That's always nice to see.
Dodgy haircuts, it's like Kid and Play watching House Party.
Yeah.
Those two could easily slot into an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, couldn't they? They could be two nephews of Will Smith, and nobody would bat an eyelid. Tom, let's focus on the defensive side of things. Little Dave, as John calls him, David Ospina, didn't have a lot to do today, but once again, handling pretty decent. He seemed to be a bit more vocal than I remembered him a lot recently, particularly today, and he seemed to organise his defence pretty well. And the thing I really quite liked, almost the fact he took that injury. Just got on with it, no drama, received a bit of treatment, and then off he went. Do you think we've underrated him slightly up to this stage? Because Petr Cech going out, everybody automatically jumped to conclusions that it would be a defining part of our season.
I don't think I've underrated him. I've said that he's an international goalkeeper who's got a record amount of appearances in goal for Colombia, and he's a very good goalkeeper for Nice when he was there, and he hasn't particularly done too many things wrong. People will highlight Swansea last season, but I think that he's come in and done a solid job, and he didn't look out of place against Barcelona. All the goals they scored, he couldn't do anything about. So I think that he's had an excellent performance today. Although, as you said, he didn't have to do much. There was a couple of times where he let the ball drop out of his hands. But when he went down injured, I was screaming just to get him off, because I know that he probably could have done, and he did go on to finish the match. But we just can't afford to lose players. And if we've had such a history of letting players, while they're injured, play on. You look at Alexis and Santi Cazorla, and they were out for a lot longer than they should have been. And it's frustrating when we don't bring players off. Like when Ozil went down, he was thankfully taken off instantly. But I think it's just something we need to learn from, about taking players off if we see a sign of injury that could get worse as the game goes on. But thankfully, it got better throughout the match, and he was able to perform well.
I agree totally, and just replied in the chat there. Yanu said, "Didn't he concede 3 versus Barcelona?" Yes, he did. But trust me, he saved an awful lot as well. So let's give credit where it's due, shall we? Karl, what do you think? Looking at the sort of overall picture of the performance today, I mean, it's again focusing on the positives once again. It's a clean sheet. It's a victory away from home. It's a game that many pundits, probably even ourselves if we're honest, expected it to be harder than it was. Which side of the fence do you sit on? Arsenal were exceptionally good and almost playing with freedom, i.e. no pressure. How often have we said that? Or do you think it was just how open Everton were, and clearly their crowd is almost as toxic as ours at home at times?
No, I was saying to sort of Tom earlier, I was more happy with the performance that we had. The result was good, getting the 3 points, but the performance was so much better. It was different from what we've seen in a couple of weeks. We performed well. As much as you may say, "Oh, Everton were bad," give Arsenal some credit. As bad as Arsenal were, as bad as Everton were, that's as good as Arsenal were. We made them play bad. Everton are not that bad for no reason. We were the ones that were hassling them, tracking things down, hurrying them into passes, closing things down. We played well, and you have to give Arsenal some credit. You can't always give the opposition, "Oh, they were bad." We were just good. I think we are playing with no pressure. I think you're right what you say there, Kris, because we don't have any pressure on us. At the moment, we can only play our games. We can't worry about anybody else in the league. So what if Leicester are winning now? We can't affect the Leicester result. We just got to keep winning our games and keep pushing ourselves up the table as high as we can. That's all we can do.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, totally agree. And I know obviously a lot of our chat I'm following along the Leicester game, and yeah, obviously we would like them to drop points. Of course we would, because that's the only way we're realistically going to get into into the title contention. But as you rightly say, this team just has to focus on their own results right now, and everything else will come. And I do still think there'll be a few twists and turns. Whether there'll be enough for us to win it remains to be seen. But we're not fortune tellers, so we'll leave that to the experts who sit there with glass balls. Insert your own joke there, John. What do you make of again, sort of similar question to Karl, but just with regards to the performance? I'm completely with Karl. I thought we made Everton look poor today, personally, and as much as Everton are a little bit Jekyll and Hyde, as somebody rightly put in the chat, I think it was Dan put in the chat, they did batter Chelsea last week. I thought our sort of overall performance was really good today, and the ball retention is something I really liked. There were very few misplaced passes in dangerous areas. Do you think we're learning, maybe?
Well, we should be. We've certainly had enough lessons to learn from. But have Palace just scored?
No.
Oh god, someone just got me all over it.
Dan's hoping they do.
Damn it, fell through. No, I thought we were good today. I did think that Everton were dreadful, and I think the Chelsea game, beating Chelsea is pretty easy for everyone but us, apparently. So I wouldn't read too much into it. I think Everton have got the worst goals conceded at home, even worse than Villa in the league. Am I right in saying that? Something ridiculous like that? They've conceded more goals than anyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's obviously a factor, and they are having a sort of really up and down season. But no, obviously the way we played obviously makes it, we put pressure on them and exploited that. But you can't. It doesn't matter how bad the team is you're playing. You can only get you just go out there to try and get the result. And we put in a decent, a very, very good performance. It's so much better than anything else I've seen for months from the way we've played. The players looked confident. They looked like they really actually wanted to win the game. They looked like they were in control. When they went 2-0 up, they didn't go crazy. They weren't pushing too much and leaving big open spaces. I think they could have and probably should have gone for the third goal. Maybe that's the only thing we didn't really do in the game. But other than that, it looked like that looked like the sort of performance you'd want to see all season long, that we haven't seen enough of. If we get that kind of performance from now till the end of the season in every game, then depending on other things, things that we can't affect, then you could end up having ending the season really, really happy. But I don't think it's because there's no it's because there's no Ramsey or Walcott apparently. It's why we perform like that. I think it's a little bit harsh. Walcott maybe, I agree with that one.
Meanie.
Oh, I can't help it. I love to have a dig at him. But no, it was good. The only thing I did disagree with is the Gabriel. I actually thought he was pretty poor today. His clearances were dreadful, and the amount of times he let the ball bounce, which is like schoolboy defending, really annoyed me. And I know you like to get one over on Lukaku whenever you can, but if I was playing up front for Everton today, I probably would have looked as good as Lukaku did, because they were fucking shocking in getting the ball to him in any way whatsoever. So, sorry, Carpenter, you got to wind your neck in on that one.
Oh no, I just like the opportunity to fire back at you bloody trolls for winding me up every time he does anything remotely good. I mean, the bloke can get out of bed in the morning, you're all like, you see that? He got out of bed. What do you want to say? I'm like, oh, you lot, I tell you. No, it's an in-joke, people. It's an in-joke. But just like to say, 3:46 p.m. Danny's decided to get out of bed. So good morning, evening, night, Danny. Welcome to the party. You big, lovely hunk of gentleman, you. How's the bathroom, Danny? Do let us know. So let's talk briefly about the hunting pack, if you will. I know we just said about the fact that obviously it's an important result for Arsenal, and I'll come back to us in a second. But I do just want to just touch briefly on the teams around us. As much as we obviously need to keep winning to push on a title race, should we be concerned about what else is going on with regards to teams in and around us? Tom, I'll start with you. You made the point there that if West Ham win at Stamford Bridge, long way to go, half-time now, but they are 1-0 up. They go fourth, sort of keeping that pressure going. Do you think that this team are as much focused on retaining that fourth or third place as they are as going up further?
I really think the team are just focused on winning the next match more than anything at the moment. I don't think they're going to be looking at the table whatsoever. I think they'll be told not to look at the table, if anything. I think as Karl's been saying, and I've been saying for weeks, we just need to focus on our next match and keep winning. That's all we can do at the moment. I don't think that, as I said, I don't think the players will be looking at the table. But just for our sake, we're looking at, West Ham will go...
Chelsea are level, so I timed that well, didn't I?
West Ham will go them 5 points behind us now, if that remains at 1-1. Man United play... Who are Man United playing at this weekend?
City.
Man City. Yeah.
Okay.
More on that in a second.
If City win, they'll go to 1 point behind us, and if Man United win, they'll go 5 points behind us as well. So if people are still talking about us in title contenders, it's even more likely that we could drop out of the top four. So people need to be looking at us. I think someone had the cheek of putting in the chat that this was a pointless result, which is barbaric and silly in my opinion, because you're not just thinking about the title now, it's thinking about staying in the top four. I know a lot of people joke about Arsenal top four trophy, but at the end of the day, we want to be playing Champions League football next season, and not being in that isn't going to help us sign any players that you desperately want in the summer. So you've got to be looking behind us just as much as you look in front of us, but I think the players will be just looking at the games rather than the table.
Yeah, agree. Some bloke called Fiberglass just scored for Chelsea. I'd never heard of him. Karl, what do you think about this Manchester derby tomorrow? Again, I know it's not strictly Arsenal, but it does affect us. What's the best outcome of that for us looking over our shoulder? Man City seem intent on focusing on the Champions League now, which they're in for another round until PSG take them apart systematically over two legs. You heard it here first. But do you think we should be almost cheering on United? Should we be looking at a draw? Should we not give a toss full stop? I'm kind of thinking that United are slightly more likely to implode than Man City are, but then it's a fag paper between the two, surely.
All right, first things first, Kris. We should never cheer on United, ever.
That's a very fair point. I worded that completely wrongly. I do apologise.
No, I think the best result for us is a 0-0 draw, but if you had to have one team win over the other, I'm guessing you're thinking United, just because they're further away than from us than City are. So if you had to have one of them, you're kind of hoping that United win. But no, 0-0, ball draw. 6 players sent off on each team. I absolutely love that, but at the end of the day, that's not going to happen. So I'm kind of thinking if you're really hard pushed, then you're hoping United win. But no, a draw is brilliant. Like I said, I think that City will kind of go gun ho to try and win the Champions League. And I think their players' heads will be turned as well to think, oh, okay, I'm going to try and save myself for the Champions League, even though I think the tie is not on for another 3 weeks, I think. But I don't think, weirdly enough, I'm not really worried about City. I know they're not really that far behind us, but I'm not really that worried about them. I'm worried about sort of behind City. So the West Hams, these teams have got like 1 game a week, apart from the FA Cup. So they're the teams, and they've got momentum as well. City, they're not playing very, very well at the moment, but it's that I think out of all the teams in the say top 6, it's West Ham are the team that I'm kind of worried about.
Yeah, I can see your point, especially with they're on a bit of a crest of a wave right now, aren't they? And that tie with Man United in the FA Cup is going to be key, because that could either continue the momentum or shelve it. It's just hard to tell. But no, I'm totally with you. And well, all we can do is win, like you say. That is all we can do. John, moving forwards with regards to this lineup, looking at sort of our next fixtures, which I'm frantically trying to find as we speak. I know we're playing West Brom
next.
Watford next. We're playing West Brom on a Thursday, aren't we? So yeah, Watford at home, and then we play the West Ham game. It goes without saying we have to beat Watford. It's after the international break, I think I'm right in saying, so we should get a chance to recharge some legs. Do you think it's sort of at that position now where we have to win every game? Do we have to win all the home games? Do you think are there any of our fixtures that you look at and think, I'm not sure about that one? I mean, West Ham and City, I guess, are the 2 obvious ones.
I look at all of our fixtures and go, I'm not sure about that one, because despite winning today,
shit.
I'm not. I'm sorry, we haven't been consistent enough. But no, we have to win every game. Just that simple. Just go win every game. You don't need to change the team. Today we played really well. Maybe you bring in Mertesacker for Gabriel, depending on your opponent. And I think when Czech's back, it's a no-brainer that you put him in over Ospina. Not that Ospina's done badly. I think he's done okay. Although seeing a centre-back take a goal kick is very Sunday League. That is hilarious. I've played in plenty of teams where the goalkeeper couldn't take a goal kick. So you just play your best team, and at the moment this is our best side. We've just won 2-0 quite comfortably. Just put that team out again, week in, week out. If someone plays better in training, then fine, chuck them in. But otherwise, just go out, win every game. Because if we win every game, that still might not win us the league. So that's the attitude you've got to have. But I don't think you can look too far ahead. Or the players can't anyway. I mean, obviously we can. Like West Ham's is weirdly going to be a huge game, which is hilarious to say. The Man City one obviously is a massive game as well. So you just have to go in with that attitude and try and win every game now to the end of the season.
Absolutely. And to our chat line, Christ, that sounds like Babe Station or something. To our chat box, John will take his top off for enough thumbs up. So I
only remember the old chat lines when you didn't have video.
Oh, you rung out
wait,
the paper.
50. You remember those ones?
No, the ones you used to pull out of phone boxes. Like,
the old ones used to give you channel 4, like the adverts at like 1 in the morning.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Tom's too young. See, they went from, in our daytime, they were adverts, and now they're actual TV channels. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You didn't get to see the big boob woman at the end of the line.
Oh, Jesus. Any under 18s, sorry. That just went off a cliff.
Describe measurements. Is that it? Is that what happens?
Mark's, hey mate, back in the days, Tom, the only access to that sort of material I had was the K's catalogue, so let's move on quickly. I should say, what I was going to say was, if you like our show and you like us, or if you don't, but particularly if you do, give us a little thumbs up in the old on the YouTube video, because the more thumbs up we get, the more up the charts we get pushed, and hopefully the more new people find us. So if you like us, give us a little thumbs up. Cheers very much. Right, let's just sort of have a kind of a little talk about the international break briefly. Tom, I'll pick on you for one player, and I'll give Karl another. Santi Cazorla is rumoured to be sort of not far away. Apparently, according to the manager, his knee is 100% now, but he's got a little bit of an Achilles sort of issue, a bit of tendonitis or whatever it might be. He's scheduled to be back in full training after the international break, if he's fit, and that's a big if with Arsenal players. But would you like to see him integrated in before the end of the season, or do you think it's too much of a risk and we should stick with what we've got?
I think you just have to see how NNE plays. Because obviously that's the position that Santi would occupy, and although we've been saying for so long that we've missed Santi, Elneny's doing really, really well, and I'm enjoying his playing time, and he hasn't, since he's been playing at the level he has been, I haven't sat and thought we miss Santi as much. I think if we had Elneny as soon as we lost Santi, and if he'd have come in and played like he had done for the whole season, we might have got different results throughout the season, but you never know. So I'd like him on the bench and seeing if he can get some game time. If he deserves to be ahead of Elneny through what he's been playing, then fair enough. But at the moment, I would simply keep Elneny because I'm enjoying his stint in the centre mid position.
And he's got lovely sideshow bob hair, which is very underrated.
Yeah.
Karl, on a similar vein, there's a lad we've got at our club called Jack Wilshere, who a lot of people have forgotten all about. We're reliably informed from an inside source, wink wink, that he's been kind of fit for roughly a month now, but he's been very insistent with the coaching staff and with the sort of recuperation crew that he wants to make sure his body is 100% right, that he doesn't want to force it too soon. Do you think with Jack, what's your thoughts on there? I think Roy Hodgson is not quoted as saying, but is rumoured to have said that if he plays 2 or 3 games before the end of the season and is fit, he will be taking him to the Euros. So what do you make of Jack? Is it similar to what Tom says on Santi, or would you like to see him at least back in the squad?
Do you know what? I genuinely would leave Jack out for the rest of the season. I'd just make him miss a season so that his body is correct. Until next season, he comes back fitter and stronger. I wouldn't even take him to the Euros. Secretly, I'm hoping he doesn't go because I want him to have complete rest, just absolutely complete rest, no sort of football activity. So next season, he comes back into midfield and he can try and get a season underneath his belt. Because I don't think he's had a season injury-free. And by I mean injury-free, like he hasn't missed like 2 or 3 months, not like a couple of weeks. So I personally would, we've gone so far without him, and we've missed him, but we've survived without him. So I would prefer not to use him this season. Next season, use him correctly and quite a lot as well, so it can help us hopefully push for the title next season.
Absolutely. It'd be nice to see him get a full pre-season under his belt. I know he had a bit of a almost full pre-season last year, and I think it was the last day of pre-season he got this injury, and that forced him out. So I do just want to say, and this is on behalf of Dom. John will back me up on this one. Everything rude, everything. You're a cheeky monkey. Just want to dispel the myth. Jack Wilshere does not have glass ankles. He is not injury prone. Aaron Ramsey is far more injury prone, muscular injury wise. And this is coming from Dom, who knows what he's on about far more than I do. And I've heard it from other sources as well. Jack is unfortunately one of those players that generally takes tackles. His style of play you can criticise. I agree with that to a degree. He does invite tackles, but he is not injury prone. Some players just take whacks, and unfortunately, the sort of tackles that have put him out for a long time, particularly the one against Man United, I can think of. Was it McNair? Was it? I think it was. That would end one of our lot's careers. So let's just give him a little bit of credit there, and not write off an exceptional talent too early. John, just on he's smirking away there. Yes, Danny, I can see what you're typing, you cheeky shitbag. At least I don't look like the Big Show. John, Mesut Ozil went off injured today, or he certainly was taken off. It looked precautionary to me. It looked like he had just a bit of a knock. But if there's any doubt, could you see him being rested by Germany? I'm not quite sure who they're playing, but I know he's named in the squad. I mean, could you see him being rested? The last thing we need is an injury to a key midfield component like Mesut.
Yeah, Lowe's rested him before. I think he rested him in the last break.
Yeah.
And he said he doesn't need to play him. He knows, he knows what he's going to get from him. So yeah, if he's got a knock, he won't play him. He doesn't need to. I think Germany might be playing England actually. I'm
That
not
might be right,
sure.
actually. That shows how
Yeah,
much
they
I
are.
follow England.
Yeah, I got no idea. Yeah, so it could be like a nice time. Yeah, someone says a nice knock, nice injury before the international break. I don't
Can
think
I
it was anything serious. To
can
be
I call it
perfectly
an
honest. Go on. Oh no, Kris can't do anything because he's gone completely silent.
Sorry, I pressed the mute button. I was just going to say, can I call it an Alex Ferguson-esque injury where
Oh
it's
right, yeah.
seemingly... Yeah.
Yeah,
Carry on.
manager who was sensible enough to tell his players to get injured at the right time. Yeah. No, I don't think it looked that serious to be honest. It's just the way John Stones, as he came down, just caught him on the ankle. Just looked like one of those sort of, it's a sore one, bit of bruising, that'll be it. Nothing serious. Of course, I'm not an injury expert, so he's probably broken his leg or something. I'm completely wrong. But no, Low won't risk him. I don't think. To be perfectly honest, if you're Germany, you just go and put the kids out. You're playing England. Fucking hell, you piss all over them. We're a pile of shit.
True that. Yeah, true that.
John Stones, the saviour of English football, had to come on in the second half and couldn't even clear a ball straight. Jesus
Very true.
Christ. Oh, it is good.
That's
I do like him.
£40 million, John Stones, by the way. Let's not
I
forget
do
that.
still like him though. I think he's a good player, but yeah, he wasn't great when he came on.
I'm sure he's lovely, but yeah, yeah, less said the better. Okay, right. Before we take a couple of questions, just two quick things that I wanted to address while we're on here. First of all, just kind of almost a shout out to someone in a weird way. For those of you who don't follow French football, and I'm pretty sure that's all of you except me, a chap called Abu Diaby made his comeback from injury last night in a 5-2 defeat at home to Rennes for Marseille. And I just want to say how awesome is that, to be honest. I just think, I think it's really cool to see a player who, has had, I think Julian Laurens tweeted last night, and I said similar, that it's his first professional game since 2014. And fair play to him. So I just want to sort of give a bit of a nod and a wink to Abu. I'm sure he's watching. I know he watches all our stuff and particularly likes the Jurassic Park references. So I'm sure he's watching. But I just wanted to mention that. And also, there's a bit of talk yesterday that Arsenal are close to signing a young French striker. Now, where have we heard this before? I'm reliably informed he's not a postman. So I just thought I'd give some people a little bit of benefit of my knowledge, which, albeit I will admit, is a little bit limited. But I have seen the gentleman in question a couple of times. He goes by the name of Anthony Coura. He's 22 years of age. He's around about 5'9", give or take a fraction. He's started his career at Le Mans, which is, for those of you who don't know, sort of a lower league French side. He's been capped at under 16, 17, 18 and 19 level for memory, for France, and got a couple of goals at both levels. He's one for the future, so don't get too excited. He's not the striker that everyone craves, shall we say, but he has got, I think it's 9 in 20 odd appearances this season for his current club, which is Nimes, in Ligue 2, and he's good. He is good. He's strikes me as, if you wanted to compare him, he reminds me of a little bit of a shorter Wilf Zaha, kind of quick, direct, likes a little bit of likes to step over, likes a little bit of the flash stuff. But the thing I really like about him is that he's very, very good off the ball. His runs are very, very good. And as we've seen with what we saw with Iwobi today, he's not as tall, obviously, so he doesn't look quite as he doesn't cover the ground as quickly. But he is quick, and he is decent, and he is direct. So I don't think we'll see him next season, if we do complete the deal, of course, because there's no confirmation yet. But I do think that he's probably going to be another one for the future, and I would suggest it might see the end of Mr. Sonogo, because I don't think there's room for two projects in that position. So I would imagine he'll be in the reserves next season if we sign him, and we shall see. And the fee reported, I think, is around about 500k. So it's one for the future. But who'd heard of Nicolas Anelka before you all criticise? So that's all I'd say on that one. Right, that's enough talking for me. We'll invite your questions. Just while we're waiting for those questions, I'll just go through all three of you, figuratively, not literally, and ask you the same question. Tom, title race, top 4 race, which camp are you in?
Well,
be honest. We won't criticise. Be honest.
No, as long as if it's still mathematically possible to win the league, yeah, I think that should be the aim. But I think we just have to be mindful of who's behind us.
Fair enough. Karl, same question.
The heart says title, the head says top four.
Fair enough. And John, we're getting relegated, right?
Probably. No, I think top four. I'd love to think we're in the title race, and we are still at the moment. I'm not convinced as of yet. But if we keep putting in those performances, you never know.
We are going to have to, even though we've said on this very pod today that we are going to have to focus on ourselves, not others. We are going to have to rely on others to slip up. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
But what is also
more than one team that we've. That's if it was one team, then maybe. But it's more than one team, and teams around us as well. That's what makes it harder for me
tougher
to see us. Yeah.
For me,
Absolutely.
you're looking at Leicester having to lose 4 games for us to catch up. Now, considering how
or
they've
draw,
been,
of course.
yeah, and considering how they've been this season, can you really see them slipping up 4 games?
I struggle to see them losing 4. I can see them drawing 2, and I can see them losing 2. But losing 4, I think, is probably a bit of a stretch. But I mean, I don't know. I haven't sat down with a calculator and worked it out. But I do think you make a fair point. It's difficult to see them dropping points. And I guess what would be, to put it in a bit of perspective, is if we can, as John said earlier, if we can play like we did today, there's every chance we can put a run together and literally win every game to the end of the season. However, we all know as Arsenal fans, we do have a tendency to, to not do this on a consistent basis, particularly this season. So consistency for us is going to be just as key as what's happening above us. So yes, tough, isn't it? But hey ho, we'll keep the face. Right, let's have a couple of questions then. See what we got here. Right, first one I'll give to you, Karl Tiger. Considering Joel and Iwobi are currently ahead of Theo, does it appear that his time is coming to an end? He says, please. Harsh, probably fair, but
I honestly think Theo should leave in the summer. I think we're still waiting for Theo's potential to come through, and we're waiting for it since he was 17, I believe. I think he's done all he can do at this club. I just think that he needs a fresh start as well. He needs something new to kickstart his career, because at Arsenal it's going stale, and at the moment we haven't got room for passengers, and at the moment Theo is a passenger.
fair. Yeah. I can totally see your point of view there. Everything. John, should we sell Giroud? Oh crikey! Amid rumours that he will leave the club. Well, I've not heard those rumours myself. I must confess. I wouldn't, but would you?
What is he now? 30?
Just
About to be
turned.
30.
Yeah, I think.
There's an argument for it. I think if you can get if we can get another striker in, then yes, I would. And that's not a knock on Giroud. I really like him, but for me, I think Walcott is Welbeck is a better option. And if we can get someone who is better than Giroud and Welbeck as well, then that bumps him down a peg. And I think he's at the age now where you can still get a bit of money for him that you can then reinvest. Not that that's a huge issue for us, but I think if you said to him your third choice striker at the club, he's probably going to kick up a stink and want to leave anyway. So I'd rather get someone better in. But that's only if you get a replacement. If you can't get someone, then no, keep him obviously.
Let me change the question just ever so slightly. Would you keep him, or what's wrong with keeping him even if you can bring in quote unquote an upgrade? Why not have 3 frontline strikers? I mean, I think Walcott is the fall guy here, but why not keep Welbeck, Giroud and another?
I think the argument is that Giroud won't like that and he'll whinge, and just I don't see him jumping ahead of someone who's better than him. So it'd be nice to keep all 3, but we won't do it. It's the way Arsenal operates. You saw with the way like what you did with Debuchy. It's nice for Debuchy that he's gone to a club and he gets to play football, but it's terrible for us because we didn't really have a proper right back in case Bellerin got a knock or anything. I know James has played there and done okay, but I mean, an actual right back, Callum was just sort of filling in.
True. Yeah, tough one. Ariane Hedari asked if will Ozil and Sanchez leave Arsenal. Well, I don't know. It's the honest answer, mate. It's impossible to say. They'll certainly question things if we don't win something. I think that would be fair. Can you see Leicester losing 4 games? We've covered that one. Here's one for Tom. Everything very rude, everything also. Would you sell Santi if we bought Fekir or Isco? I'll just let you talk about Isco because I think everyone's bored of me talking about Fekir.
Well, Isco is perfect for our number 10 position, really. He's because he's a lot faster than what Ozil is. I think we discussed this a bit on the last radio show, actually. He's a very tricky player, got a good touch, and I think he would work very well in Arsenal's lineup. The only thing would be is that you have to vacate Ozil's position. I mean, he can play on the wing, but definitely not as effective. And in terms of would I sell Santi, I don't think I would. I don't think you'd get. I don't think it's like one of those that are worth losing. I think you're better off losing Thomas Rosicky and letting him move on and keeping Santi in the team, as even if it's just on the bench or whatever, because he does offer something still, and he can offer something for many years to come. I just think that if we're going to bring someone in, it's someone like Rosicky and Flamini and Arteta that are going to move on in the summer.
I really hope
we need money anyway. So
no. I really hope, from a selfish point of view, that Thomas Rosicky gets at least one more game, or we give him a testimonial, because I would think it'd be a heartbreaking way to see him go out as a player that I've always loved. So I hope we keep him around just to see him with a proper send off, and Arteta for that matter. Actually, I know people won't like me saying that, but I don't care. John, let me ask you one from Twitter. It comes from Double D Ravioli, which I'm sure you've watched a few films that are titled similar. Is it the end of Walcott and Oxlade-Chamberlain? Now, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to set you a challenge here. I want you to try and be honest without chucking Theo under the bus even further than we already have regularly, because I want to keep today positive. I like positive shows. But do you think there's an argument that if the right offer came in, either or both could go in the summer? Or would you put it that way?
I'd let Theo go. Yeah. Again, I would only let him go with the caveat that we actually got someone else in. I don't think Walcott's starting. Well, you're seeing he's not starting at the moment, and I don't have a problem with that. Selling him without getting someone else in place is stupid, because as much as he's been a disappointment this year, it's still a member of the squad, and you still need that backup just in case you get an injury or someone gets a poor run of form or whatever. So yeah, if you can get someone in for him, yes. Oxlade-Chamberlain, I'd still give another season. I think there will. I know there's a lot of talk of some clubs being interested in him, so maybe there will be offers for him. But I think I certainly don't think Arsenal will be interested in listening to him. Walcott maybe. I think he might consider that, but I don't think he'll let Oxlade-Chamberlain go unless it's like a really ridiculously overpriced offer. But personally, I'd still give Ox another season, because I think there's a player in there, and I think it's more like a mentality thing than talent that's holding him back. Whereas with Theo, I think he has a certain level, and I don't think you're ever going to get him beyond that level. And I think yeah.
I agree with that. And obviously, if Pep Guardiola knocks on the door and says you can have Aguero, we're open to that, Pep. We'll listen to that offer. Actually, Aguero and 40 million, we'll have a chat. Until then, bugger off. Another one for Tom. Tom, you could go on about this for years, so I'm going to restrict you to 3 players. Give me 3 names from Spain Arsenal could sign this summer.
Oh, okay.
It can't be Griezmann, it can't be Messi, it can't be Ronaldo, it can't be Neymar.
Griezmann could be available, you never know.
Yeah, but not for us. Not at our prices.
I think Benzema's going to be available in the summer, just I think that, I've said this over and over again, but I think that Real Madrid would be in the market for a new striker to liven up there.
They also be in prison as well, by the way.
I was going to say the same. Allegedly. Yeah.
I think that, and Rude says it, Gaia, a left-back person to come in and replace Monreal in the future. And not I'm saying that we should get rid of Monreal, he's doing very well, but I think Gibbs should be moved on, and Gaia is certainly one to look at. And a last one, I'm going to go for Conor Plianka, Sevilla, as our wide guy that we need to bring in, because the guy is fire. He's brilliant. He's pacey. He's got a trick. He can take around players. He can score amazing goals, and he can assist goals too. If he comes on in a match of Sevilla, the game certainly does turn. So you can see the effect he has for them, and I think he could have a big effect for us.
Cool. Yeah. I still like Krychowiak, but you know my thoughts on him.
I have him as well.
Take all the players. Couple more, and we'll get out of here. Jim Jones. That's a great name. Sounds like he writes Tom and Jerry or something. It's a brilliant name. Karl, if Wenger was the manager of Leicester, do you think they would be top of the league? I kind of like that question because, yeah, it's very. If you look at Ranieri, you can see the similarities in the style and. The old-fashioned style manager with trying to implement his old-fashioned views like the 4-4-2 and stuff like that. John's shaking his head. But what do you reckon? What do you reckon, Karl?
That's a good question. I'm going to say no. I don't know why. I'm just going to say no. I just think that the way Leicester play, Arsene Wenger would never play like that. He would never play a 4-4-2. He would never play 3 up front. Sorry, he would never play 2 up front. And Leicester are very direct the way they play. So, and Arsenal are not. So I'm going to say no. I don't think they would be top of the league if Wenger was in charge.
And would you agree? Would you still stick by that even if the formation was irrelevant, i.e., just that group of players? Do you think you would with that group of players?
Yes, I would, because I think that Wenger would have. He'd probably play Vardy up top by himself.
Mahrez wide.
Yeah, Mahrez wide. I don't think he'd play. I forgot what the Chinese guy's names. I don't even know.
Okazaki.
Yeah, I don't think he'd play him, or he'd play much deeper, or probably in the Özil role. Then you'd have maybe Drinkwater and Kante in the middle. So yeah, I just don't think that the style that Arsene Wenger would play would suit Leicester.
Fair. Should say Okazaki is Japanese, just in case any of our Chinese listeners get offended. I'm picking. Ignore me. Okay, I think we got 3 more here. John, if Arsene doesn't renew his contract for next season, if he doesn't renew it beyond next season because he's got another year to run. This is from Ellis, by the way. Ellis Mel, friend of the show. Hello, Ellis. Can you see him going all out in this summer window or reserving some cash for the next manager who could come in? Just to chuck 5 pence with him before you answer that, I don't think it's up to him anyway, do you? Do you think the board...
Yeah, I do think it's up to him.
You controversial character.
Oh, I know. It's terrible, isn't it? I mean, because... every single piece of evidence, every quote from every player, every quote from every member of the back staff that's ever left Arsenal since Kroenke's been there, and every journalist who has his ear says it's down to him. So, unless they're all wrong, no, it's all down to Wenger, to be honest. What's spent, and he signs off on the fees for the players and the wages. He has the final say. No, he won't go all out. I don't see it at all. He will be nice and leave money for another manager to come in and spend, probably. Not saying he might go out and buy another big star player like he did it with Alexis and he did it with Özil. So we might get one. We might get one, but that would be it. We won't get. I can't see him buying 2. No, I'd be surprised if we go anywhere near maybe as much as we spent on Özil. But even that, I'd be a little bit surprised on if we spend that much on a player.
I think.
Sorry to be disappointing.
No, that's all right. I think, again, you're honest. I like that. I think maybe you'll agree with me on this. I think a lot of it depends on who is made available by the clubs in question. And what I mean by that is, okay, yes, we got Özil, we got Sanchez, we got Cech. However you dress it up, and trust me, I hate saying this, we got those players because the clubs were willing to sell those players to us. We didn't go to those clubs and say, hello, we're the Arsenal, we'll take your player, F you. They offered us those players because they were... to a degree, surplus to requirements at their clubs. The one caveat I would say to that is I don't think Alexis Sanchez would have left Barcelona had we not. I don't think he'd have gone to Liverpool if we hadn't come in, is my point. I think he would have stayed, and the Suarez deal would have probably not happened. So I do think that's the caveat. But certainly in Ozil's case, and indeed Petr Cech's case, both players were happy to move. And the clubs were very happy to let them go. So in this circumstance,
you could just go to a club that's apparently not selling a player and offer more than he's worth.
Oh, you could.
Yes, you can always do that. Oh, that's a crazy idea. Other teams seem to do it. Apparently, it works. Dangerous.
We could have a whole podcast on this, Johnny boy. You know this. And I think if you're Man City, Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, I think you can do that. I don't think you can do that.
Well, I don't know. 200 billion in the bank says otherwise, but there you go.
Yeah. We'll agree to disagree.
Oh, and also don't forget, this summer we'll be competing with Manchester United, Man City, and
Liverpool.
Chelsea, all spending
West
money.
Ham.
Oh, and Liverpool
West
as well
Ham.
with Jurgen
West
Klopp
Ham.
there.
Sam as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus PSG, Real Madrid, Barca, Bayern Munich. So to make it even easier for ourselves, it's not fiscally responsible. You're completely correct, Greg. It's terrible, isn't it? Spending money that you've got, because sitting there in a bank, getting interest that doesn't help teams win trophies. Strange. Sorry, I'm not going to go off on one positive show. We won.
You just did. You just did. No, this argument could go forever, and until Arsene Wenger writes a book or until a journalist hacks his phone, we'll never know is the truth. So,
West Ham have scored.
Yeah, happy days. Right, final
That's not
question.
Good. Boo.
Oh, yeah, well,
No, it is good. It's
Chelsea are
nice.
losing, so we want
Chelsea lose it. I mean, short of an acid rainfall, it is pretty good news, isn't it? Let's be honest. Dan Cronin also wanted to know about whether we think Ozil leaves in the summer and who replaces him if he does. Christ knows, Dan. To be honest, I don't think Ozil will leave this summer, but I do think
It's an Ogo, the number 10 shirt.
Yay! I think Mesut's fairly happy. I just think he's, like a lot of the players at the club at the moment, just a little bit looking around, going, "Oh, this is a bit awkward right now." So I think he'll stick around. I do. I want to believe that. Final question I'll take, because it's about my good little friend, Imperial 109. Would you go for Zlatan on a free but big wages and old? Yes, I would. 100% Imperial. If you didn't hear the last radio show, why not? How very dare you? What better? What things have you got to do in your life better than listening to us ramble on? But if you didn't hear it, we brought this subject up in the last radio show. I am a massive fan of Zlatan. I always have been. I think his arrogance and his desire and his winning mentality would be exactly what our dressing room needs. I think there's too many players at our club that are comfortable in their own skin. I think there's too many players that know they're going to get in the side regardless. And I genuinely believe that a player of Zlatan's caliber could lift players to a new level. And I tweeted last night and I said I would absolutely love to see the look that Zlatan Ibrahimovic would give Theo Walcott in training if he missed a sitter. I would pay good money to see that. That would be like football porn to me. So, yes, I would 100% take Zlatan. Truth is, I don't think we will. I hate.
Manager won't have him.
Oh, well, I don't even think it's that, John. I don't think we would put the money up that he's asking for. Is the truth. I do, however.
Someone who will challenge him in the dressing room.
He certainly wouldn't like it. I agree, but I sadly see him at Man United or Chelsea, and it will break my heart because I don't want to hate him, but I can hate Cavani if he goes to Chelsea. That's fine, but I can't. No, I just can't.
I'm really worried that Cavani's going to rock up at Chelsea next season and banging 8 goals against us because you've been so horrible about it.
No. Do you know what, John? He probably would. And then the very next week he'd go away to Norwich and miss 12 sitters. That's what you're going to get. So, that being said, I could be wrong. It does happen. I'm wrong quite a lot, actually. So,
But if offered the chance, Chris, wouldn't you take him? Cavani? Yeah.
A lot of it depends, mate, to be honest. It depends on the money, and I know John's automatically going to say, well, it's not your money, and I know it's not our money.
What the fuck about the money?
Because I think you can get
Doesn't matter.
I think you can get better value, John. I think you can get an Iñaki Williams, Tom, or like that. I think you can get a Lacazette who's, 6 years younger for half the price. And what I mean by the money, John, is that if you spunk all that money on Cavani, and you still have glaring holes at centre back, glaring holes at right back, glaring holes at midfield.
But that wasn't the question. The question was, would you take Cavani
at the right price?
Oh,
do you know what?
Why does the money matter though? It doesn't matter. It's not your money. It's not your money. It doesn't matter.
All right, let me ask you a question then.
I'm not saying he's an amazing striker, but I'm just saying why the money doesn't matter to you. It's not your money.
Let me ask you a question then, right? On the understanding that you would take him, okay? Just on the understanding.
I'm not even saying I would. I'm just saying the money doesn't matter. The fee doesn't matter. It's not your money.
No, but it does matter if that's the budget, doesn't it? To buy Cavani from PSG, irrespective of how dog shit he's been for 2 years, you're going to have to pay PSG, even though he wants to go and the club are open to letting him go. You're going to have to pay, I'm going to say 39 million pounds, right? So you go and you spend that. Then you got his wages is irrelevant, granted, but you spend 38 million, 40 million on Cavani.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't got any more budget left for the summer, then surely there is an argument. Then surely that's what I'm saying. Would you
No,
spend
because
all
you
that money
don't
on
pay
one
that
player?
money up front. No clubs pay fees up front anymore.
No, but we would spend a considerable amount of our wages and transfer budget on the player initially.
Get rid of Theo Walcott then
Yeah,
and
that's
give
like
him
100 grand.
Walcott's wages. Well, it's just, the money thing is such nonsense. No club pays their fees up front anymore. Like, we still haven't paid for Mesut Ozil. We still haven't finished paying for him. Like, if we sold him, we'd actually make a profit, even if we sold him for less than what we paid, apparently, to him for Real Madrid, because you pay in instalments. So it's nonsense, and we're getting even more money from TV next year. It really annoys me. It's not your money. Just who cares?
All right.
Really.
Well, I've made a case for the defence. That's all I'm going to say.
If we went and got him, we'd probably pay PSG like 12 million this year. Well, I tell you what, that leaves loads of money to go and get someone else if you want. I'm not saying go and buy Cavani. I'm not saying he's amazing or anything else. I'm just saying the money really shouldn't come into it.
Let me tell you, if
you want them, just get it.
Let me tell you, if we offer PSG 12 million for Cavani, they will tell us to be on our bike.
No, that's what you pay first instalment. You pay whatever the fees you agree. Yeah, it's just.
Okay. All right. No. I agree with you. I'm going to say 2 words for you, Anthony Martial.
What? What's wrong with what?
Well, did you see the instalment that United had to get him out of? And by the way, he's been all right for 39 million quid.
Yeah.
Which will end up being 60 million.
He's been all right. On the Ballon d'Or list.
They're still going to have to pay 50 plus. I think it's a massive.
Over the what is he on a 5-year contract? Yeah. So they've got to pay 10 million a year. What's that? That's free home games, gate receipts.
Again, I've made a case for the defence. In fact, I've made a case for the realism. You're making a case for what you'd like, and don't get me wrong.
I'm not making a case for the realism. You're talking about £10 million over the space of 5 years for a kid who's 19 years old, who, if it doesn't work out, you can still sell on and either get your money back or make a profit.
That's even more dicey territory. But
really, just send them to China. They're paying 30 million quid for Jackson Martinez.
Well, then can we shift Theo out to China? Can we shift Theo out there? Can we get Yaya on a 28 million pound deal?
The amount of money in football now is obscene. I'm gonna give up with it.
No. It's a good debate. It was fun. Put it this way: I'd rather spend my money on a player that I think we can turn into something than a player who's busted his nut and is on the decline for double the money. That's my opinion.
I'd rather have a punt on a Lacazette. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying the money argument is such nonsense now. It really annoys me.
Fair enough. Okay.
If you're paying for it, fair enough. Then you decide on the fee for a player. But,
well, that's fine. Well, this has been ABW Radio in association with Lidl. The John Welsh branded Waitrose ABW Radio will be available soon when the takeover is complete. But until then, you'll have to stick with budget bags and shit trolleys with 3 wheels from Kris. So no, good debate. Good debate. I like it. It's always good. So it's always fun. Right, John. Apparently you're spanking me. That's a horrible image. My good grief.
That's a different show.
I'm just the host. I like the views and I let my guests go to town. So no, good debate. Okay, I'm going to get out of here because if we don't, Danny will shut me down and slap me around like the bitch that I am. So let's move on and go to our own weekends and enjoy it. John, thank you for your time. Karl, thank you, and Tom, thank you.
No worries.
Cheers. Just before we go, I've just seen a hilarious thing on Twitter. Which I think every fan can get behind, is getting Kroenke out of the club, and well done the away fans for their nice little song at the end of the game. I've just seen someone put, Harry Kane is more popular than Stan Kroenke at the Emirates.
That is very good, yes. And for safe journey home to all of our away fans as well.
Very good today.
Absolutely, yeah. And before anyone else, no, we're not going to comment on that. Final thing to say is Daniel Cronin says, Kris, just remember, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists. What better way can I think to finish the show on that? So thank you all very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. As I say, if you don't already, you can subscribe down below. All the links to our various podcasts. Rami Shaban What a gentleman, along with our good friend Mr. Hollick, Kate, Gimley and Danny on Thursday's pod. Do go back and give it a listen. It's excellent, really is. And of course our blogs. Jeff's away on hiatus at the moment on holiday, so he'll be back. The blogs will go back up and there. And yeah, ABW Radio will return for our next game after the international break. Keep it Arsenal. Thank you for joining us. Give us a little thumbs up, and we will speak to you very soon. Cheers for now. Keep it Arsenal.
See you later, guys.
Force be with you.